Watch who?
Hello.
And welcome to Two Watch Who, a Doctor Who podcast. I'm Mark.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm a Doctor Who fan.
And I'm new to watching Who.
Watching for the very first time.
Very first time. Sorry. I don't know what was going on there. You know what? It's been however many seasons. I just thought we'd mix it up there.
Well, everybody, here we are in the lovely Gabriel Chase, this lovely Victorian house. Would you care to join me for dinner?
Sure. It's all about dinner in the house, isn't it? What shall I wear? There's an assortment of outfits available. I could wear an off-the-shoulder number. I could wear a tuxedo. I could wear a full ball gown.
There we are. Well, let's sit down. Let's start. And we're talking about Ghostlight this week. It's been a couple of... Actually, it feels like it's been a couple of weeks since we recorded, but I don't think it has. It's been like a week.
I don't know when we last recorded, Mark.
I don't know. Well, it was Battlefield last time, and it was I haven't actually heard that one back, but I feel like it was a bit of a struggle to get anything out of you on that one.
I can't remember, you know.
Well, you didn't have a lot to say. Which probably wasn't the best season opener, really, but hopefully everyone's come back.
Oh my God. I genuinely don't remember.
No, I think I did most of the talking on that one. But,
because you really loved it, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's been like a week and a half. Wow.
It feels much longer.
It feels much longer. For you guys at home, it's no time at all and life is normal. But for me and Mark, an unknown time has passed. So, yeah.
Well, we should go straight into it because this is a complicated one, I'm going to say. But I have a couple of updates.
Let's update.
Well, I was going to do one update, still no sign of Ross.
What?
Second update, no clarity in the unsolved mystery of Sophie Aldred teaching me gymnastics, although one of our listeners did send her the clip of me talking about it on Twitter.
I know, I did see.
But she hasn't responded, so maybe she was like, not me.
I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
Well, let's talk about Ghostlight.
Yeah.
Because I think people have been anticipating this one because it's got a reputation of, number one, having a really good atmosphere, being a lot of people's favourites. That sort of Victorian period drama that the BBC does really well. I mean, it's all in the studio and it looks amazing.
I was going to ask that, is it all in the studio?
That's all studio.
It looks incredible. I wondered if it was actually a house. Literally within seconds, I was like, this set looks amazing. I wonder if it's a house.
It's very well lit as well, which we can get into.
Lighting.
Well, actually, it's probably a bit too dark this time, I'm going to complain about.
Please some people.
But also it has the major reputation of having a very confusing storyline.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I had no idea what was happening, but I really enjoyed it.
You've just summed up what every Doctor Who fan thinks about this story. And also it has the reputation, I mean, you know that this is the last season of Classic.
Yeah.
But they were made out of order, so this was the very last one actually filmed.
Really?
And apparently the scene with Gwendolyn and Lady, I can't remember her name, the ones where they turned to stone, that was the very last scene ever shot for Classic Doctor Who.
Gosh, there we go.
But what I wanted to do, because for me, I have never understood what's going on here.
Right.
I was hoping you might be able to explain it to me. I mean, I always start with the best of intentions. I'm like, right, I'm going to really enjoy Ghostlight, love the atmosphere, I'm going to watch it, and I did that this time as well. I spaced out the episodes. I was like, right, episode 1, I was writing notes down. And great, episode 1, we love an episode 1 where there's lots of mysteries, we're introduced to things. We're not expecting things to be explained straight away in part 1. I love part 1. But when I'm like halfway towards the end of part 2 and I still don't know what's going on, and then part 3 and I'm like, I still don't know, it's not explaining everything, that's when I sort of give up and I'm just like, and there are a few fans out there that are like, well, it's perfectly simple what's going on. It explains it all there. But I don't think it does.
Okay, here's what I think. happened. And I am saying this with like trepidation.
Okay, why don't you say what you think happened, and then we'll go through
Because
my
I
notes.
also can't remember names or things, so bear with me. Right. So they arrive at the house, and alien life force has taken it as a base and has been using it to collect data about Earth, right? Which I think is the light thing, right? So the light, and what was the other thing? The woman, she was control.
Yeah.
Right. So they were like, I feel like maybe at one point working together, and then they've had a fallout. I don't know, lovers tiff, maybe a couple of the season, who knows? We don't see that bit, but and then in the middle of that is that other guy, Jungo.
Josiah.
And he wants control, not control. He wants to have things in place. He wants to do things his way. So gets rid of light and puts people in Java, or sends them to Java, and has his own version of, and takes over, right? So I feel like there are these alien things that come, and they're there to like maybe understand Earth and catalog it. You know what I'm trying to say? And then they blow it up. I think that would be their plan. But when they come out, or when the Doctor releases them all and stuff, things have developed, moved on, and he can't cope with it. And also, like, it comes out that in the future, Ace is there, and she burns it down because she feels their sense of like evilness.
Okay, I think that's sort of the basics.
Like in a rough nutshell. I don't know if that's like the exact form, but like.
But I mean, because it is a 3-parter.
Yeah, it's only 3 parts. There's a lot of like. It sets an incredible mood. That first episode is amazing.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
that first episode
really
is probably one of my favorites. It's been a long time since I've had an episode where I've just been like, it felt like the suspense of what we had in seasons 1 and 2. You know, when it felt genuinely scary.
Well, I mean, we really have got a completely different atmosphere to last week, although you can't remember that. But all completely from like last season, even, you know. But we haven't had that historically type of story for a while.
I also really liked, and it made me think about. I wondered whether this is something that was taken when they started New Who. This idea of like a companion's backstory. We know of Ace and stuff, but to talk, like, you know, we learned she like set this person. This place impacted her, and to have returned to somewhere of her past and of a companion that's nothing to do with the Doctor, but of her, an impact on her and who she is. That I thought was really interesting. How she ties into the story, even before she's even in the story. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, this is definitely a new style of looking at the Doctor and the companion,
which is what I think is to come. Because when you look at things in New Who, it is a lot more of that sort of stuff. But we've not really had that before. The companions, prior to this, the companion's always just been, here's a companion, and they're there with the Doctor to accompany them and go on the adventures.
Well, it's sort of been leading this way from last season, since Ace began, really. Last season with the circus, the Doctor was you were sort of picked up on, like, the Doctor was sort of like making Ace go. She said she didn't like clowns, she didn't like sort of facing her fears in that way. But here, this is a specific. We're coming here.
Specific. Yeah.
I mean, he says, this is an initiative test for you. I'm going to land here. You need to work out why we're here and what's going on. And it's so strong. That scene where she finds out and they have that conversation. She's like, why did you bring me here?
Doctor, where are you? I want to talk to you.
Ace! What's the matter?
Professor Matthews in there says this house is Gabriel Chase.
So?
It's all falling down last time I saw it in 1983. You tricked me! This is Perivale!
It's sort of like drama between the Doctor and the companion, which I don't think. I mean, we last had. I feel like when Barbara had a go at the first Doctor back at the beginning. You know,
like I said, it feels like very early, sort of Doctor Who, in a good way. That sense of like drama and sense of like we've not had that for so long.
Do you think he's been a bit of a dick Doctor though, doing this to her?
Well, yes yes and no. I mean, the thing is, there's a lot in between that we don't know. It's the dialogues and situations which might be covered in audios and stuff.
What do you mean we
As
we
in,
don't
like,
know? Like,
as in, I think if you take this at face value and this is how their relationship is, you could argue that he's a dick. But he obviously cares. And I feel like there must have been like he's not just like met Ace and gone, I know that I'm going to take you to this place. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's the stuff that's off screen, the conversations and them as characters, and then we see on screen, like, we've landed here and we get to see that part of their adventure.
I think you can take it on face value. I mean, this Doctor in this season has that reputation of being like the manipulator, the sort of going towards a bit of a darker aspect. Because last season, and even a little bit before, he's landing and he knows why they're there. Like, the Dalek one, he had that all in his mind. The Cyberman one, he knew that was going to happen. It's this Doctor knows what's happening and is sort of manipulating in the background various things.
Yeah, I feel like it's more, there is a narrative and we drop in on certain parts of the narrative. There's stories in between that we don't see or know. I don't feel like it leads one to the next, to the next, to the next.
Okay. There's other stuff going on.
I feel there's other stuff goes on in between. And as an audience, we just partake in part of their adventures. And I'm not sure if that's like an intentional thing because seasons are shorter. And so it's to make it feel like there's a whole life going on beyond, or whether it's just like but it never feels to me watching it like, oh, they've gone from last week, which I can't remember, to this one now.
Because actually, if this was a modern episode, or just made now, I think we would have got like a prequely 5 minutes before the titles of young Ace climbing over the fence. We'd see what happened to Ace, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
But we're just told about it here.
We
or
get
afterwards.
some sort of dialogue in like last week's episode of like her upbringing that would lead then into this, like she talk about like being on the estate or something like that. There'd be something. Am I talking more this week than last week?
I know, it's great. It's great. I'll go through my notes then of what I was trying to work out what was happening in the story. Because I always get the basics, but there's just so much going on and it's just thrown at you. So I've put, Victorian house, it's very dark. I felt the picture was very dark. I was watching on iPlayer on my laptop. I had to turn the brightness right up in some scenes. It was so dark.
I watched it in the bath. I was in the bath on my phone watching it. Because I knew I'd concentrate then. I wouldn't be able to go on my phone if I was watching it on the phone. Because you told me you were like, you have to concentrate. So I was like, right, I will sit in the bath and I'll watch the first episode on my phone so I can't be distracted. And I took the brightness right up.
Yeah, it's real. Like, on the people's TVs, I don't know what happened there. Maybe because it's light and when light comes, they want to make it look super bright. But I mean, it's really effective, but some of it, you just can't see what's going on. I always get confused if it's day, because it always takes place at night, actually, doesn't it? Because it starts off with the housekeeper being like, I'm done, 5 o'clock, I'm not staying here any longer, I'm getting, my shift's done, I'm out of here, which is everybody when they finish work. So, she's us, she's the people.
She's getting out of there. Done my shift,
I'm not staying a moment longer.
Not paid for overtime.
And then we get all the creepy, the taxidermy stuff going around and everything, which is weird. I sort of like taxidermy. I would love, they've got that sort of framed, all the little, the stuffed birds and everything. It's very Victorian. I would feel like, as long as I had my, plasma TV and computer and DVDs and stuff, I would love, that Victorian aesthetic.
Did I ever tell you that my best friend's granddad growing up was a taxidermist?
No.
Right. True story. So her granddad was a taxidermist. My dad was a funeral director. So she was at her granddad's and she'd called me and we'd missed the call. So my dad, this is when we had the funeral business. So my dad called back the number, right? Obviously, because we'd had a missed call. And her granddad didn't know that she'd called us, right? So then they have this half-hour conversation but they're trying to work out why they've had these calls. And then he's like, well, I'm a funeral director. And he's like, well, I haven't called a funeral director. And he's like, well, what do you do? And he's like, well, I'm a taxidermist. And like, just a really weird conversation. And then eventually it would transpire that his granddaughter was there. Oh, Becky. All right, thanks. Becky's called Sarah. That's what's happened. And we haven't answered the phone. So my friends at Becky's, she had like up her stairs, she had a fox. She had a fox's head on the wall, like the face, and then the body like up the stairs.
Oh my God.
Granddad had
I mean, I'd like sort of, some Victorian birds or something, but I don't think I want
I bet you do, Mark.
A whole animal.
What, a bird's head?
Oh, no. But I like seeing them in museums and stuff. My mum's got a bar now.
Oh, yeah.
You have to get like a license for it and stuff. Obviously, there's something about...
Or stuffed?
No, a stuffed one. A taxidermied one.
Right.
You have to get a license for it, and it has to be
really?
Only made since... there's something before like a certain year or something. Yeah, yeah. It's not like... I don't think you can like taxidermy stuff now. I don't know, actually.
I know. Well, I think you can... you have to get like permissions. Like if it was like your pet or something like that, I think... Like if you owned the animal...
Right.
I'm not talking like your rabbit. I'm talking like if it was a farm and there are things. Yeah.
This house here is full of taxidermy. Great. So it sets the scene. We better carry on with the story.
We've not got past the first scene.
So we've got this Redvers Fern Cooper guy going around,
I forgot about
who the Doctor and... So he's a bit confusing to begin with, but I understand that. So, House, Gabriel Chase, Doctor and Ace land. I'm with it so far. Great. They're having a look around. Redvers Fern Cooper is creeping around the house. He is looking for somebody, he explains. Oh, he's got this snuff box, which is like radiation or something weird. And he's going around, he's like, oh, you found me snuff box. I'm finding this guy. I'm looking for this guy. Turns out he... is actually looking for himself.
Yes.
Because he sees his reflection, he's like, oh, that. And they're like, okay, so something's happened. He's seen something that's made him like...
loopy.
Complete, yeah. So, okay, I completely get that. And so that's a bit of a mystery there. What's he seen in the house that's, made him go like this? Great. Got that. Who else do we have? The Vicar arrives and he wants to see the master of the house. Brilliant, fine.
The Vicar as well.
So, we've got the Vicar. No problem, he's just there. Great. Then we've got Gwendolyn, who's going around the house. She's like the daughter of the house, the usual, Downton Abbey style person, Bridgerton person.
Oh yeah, Mark's watching Bridgerton at the minute.
I'm watching Bridgerton at the moment.
Where are you up to?
Oh no, am I on series? I've only just started series 3. I just stopped.
Yeah.
No, I just stopped. Yeah.
You needed a break. It's a lot of sex.
Yeah, I watched like 2 whole series in one go.
There's
a lot going on. Yeah, so I've gone to. It's good to go to Ghostlight. No sex, Ghostlight.
Have you done Queen Charlotte yet?
No, I'll do that afterwards.
That'll be a nice break.
Yeah,
we'll enjoy Queen Charlotte.
Yeah, anyway. So there's no Bridgerton happening in in Ghostlight. Gwendolyn is absolutely not having sex with anyone.
She looks across the ballroom floor. No.
Okay, and we sort of build this cast of characters. You got Nimrod, the Neanderthal butler. So there's something sort of slightly weird, but it's just on the face of it a Victorian house. Brilliant. And then we got Josiah, who needs the dark, and he's like me with a migraine.
That's true. That's very true. Mark most days.
Yeah. So, actually... Oh, no, I was going to say I haven't had one for ages. I've literally had one for like the last 2 days.
You literally told me before we started recording you've had one the last few days.
Oh, I can't find... You said to get that head patch, that gel head thing.
Oh, yeah.
I've put it somewhere. I can't find it. I really need... I might have to get
Is it in your freezer?
No.
Not the eye one?
No, not the eye one. The thing that goes right over your head. It's like a swimming... It's like a swimming cap.
Yeah, but that's gel.
But it's gel.
Freezer. Oh, you need to get another. Keep it in your freezer.
No. Yeah, I don't know what I've done with it. So
I've got 3 in the freezer that I rotate as I need them.
And you can put it in the microwave when it's cold, or put it over your head as well. It's great. Anyway, so that's Josiah. He needs a.
What are we talking about?
Josiah needs a gel pack on his head to go around the house. Oh my god. Right, so we've got all these characters. Okay. The Vicar is there to see Josiah, and there's this whole, like, evolution theme, isn't there? Which is cleverly weaved through, because the Vicar, I feel like the Vicar is there to complain to Josiah about, he's like, oh, you're taking up Darwin's theories, and I'm, like, obviously representing the church that doesn't like that kind of thing, which would have been going on at the time, right? So that's why the Vicar's there, basically.
I couldn't work out if he was, like, there as a vicar or there as, like, the society to say Darwin's theories aren't correct.
I think both. He can do both.
Okay, yeah.
Get a vicar that can do both. and that's who he is.
Well, get a vicar that can do both.
Yeah. What's his name? Ernest Matthews. He will do it for you. Right. So he's there. So Josiah, though, this is what I don't get about Josiah. He came in the alien craft. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I presumed. I thought he was one of the aliens.
Because they talk about, somewhere, this is where you really got to hear the dialogue, the original owner of the house, the Pritchards.
Yeah, which is where Gwendolyn and Lady, whatever her name is.
Well, yeah, and I'll get to her. I can't remember her name. Head maid lady. She is Mrs. Pritchard, and Gwendolyn is the daughter.
Yeah.
But then that guy, the guy of the house, he went missing, and that's when that detective inspector arrived years ago to find out what happened. So Gwendolyn and Headmaid have been, like, given, like, amnesia. They've been, like, zombified, so they don't know what's going on. And then Josiah's come in. Something about Josiah being, like, an experiment, because we end up with 2 Josiahs later on, don't we?
We do, yeah.
And he's, like, evolving. So I feel like the spaceship was Josiah, Control, Lights in there as, like, the captain, and they picked up Neanderthal Nimrod on the way when they were cataloguing stuff and evolved him to be their butler in the house. But then, like, all of the all those zombie maids and stuff, they're all just, like, humans that have been brainwashed, and they've just been living in this house for years and years.
I feel like they've taken over their bodies.
And I know that, so they were cataloguing stuff, right? I get how Light was cataloguing. He wants to. If they landed on Earth, he's like, oh, I need to know your catalogue of everything ever. Like, I wrote, like, he's like VHS Neighbours guy, and he's like, everything, right? And he's going to, like, harass everyone and keep going until he's got it all, right? But new episodes of Neighbours keep happening all the time, so we can never keep up with all those episodes of Neighbours, basically.
No.
That's what's happening. But what I don't get is, why are they in that house? And why do they take over and have maids, and they're just living this house life?
I thought that they put Light away and Control, and he wanted to, like, just take over. And I think he wanted to, like, become, like, a famous scientist and claim, oh, look at all these things that I've discovered and stuff. And that's why he invites the priest guy over to prove, like, his theories and stuff like that.
It's Josiah that I don't understand his
motive.
I'm going to look it up because I just need to see what it says on TARDIS Wiki about Josiah. Okay, let's see if we've got this right. So, Josiah Samuel Smith, a long-lived being involved in Light's survey of ancient Earth.
Right.
Josiah changed form to match the dominant species of the planet, leaving behind still mobile, at least partially sentient husks. They're the bugs in suits, so they were previous versions of Josiah. So he's like, weird alien, we don't know what he looks like. He's like, I'm going to evolve, on and on and on.
Yeah.
He adopted the form of a Victorian gentleman, great, which is where the ship is. And then he's the owner of it, and with Mrs. Pritchard and Gwendoline and Nimrod, and his guest, Redford's Fern Cooper, whom he trained as an assassin, presided over a distorted version of a 19th century household. Okay. Oh, yeah, and Josiah planned to take over the British Empire by having Fern Cooper murder Queen Victoria.
There we are.
And that's all it says. So he's just an alien there, and he's like, right, I love being a Victorian gentleman. I'm just going to stay here. I'm going to live the Bridgerton experience forever. Okay, right, so there's nothing more to it than that. So actually, we have sort of got it. Great. We understand what's going on.
We know what's going on, Mark. We're all over it.
Clothes watch, though, like you mentioned before. Ace in the tux is a great look.
Great look. I enjoyed Ace and Gwendolyn in their tuxes.
Yeah, that was fun. I like how, again, Ace always has a bit of a friend, and this week it's Gwendolyn, who she's like...
Very briefly Gwendolyn, but it is Gwendolyn.
Well, yeah.
All but briefly.
Well, yeah, before Gwendolyn tries to, like...
Kill her.
Yeah. But they have some close watch fun first. And then we've already said, like, Ace gets pissed off about it being Gabriel Chase and everything, which is sort of... I get all of that. Great. She's like, this is the house. And then the doctor's like, yeah, you're really scared and haunted by this. I've brought you here on purpose. Oh, Gwendolyn starts playing the piano randomly. That's the way to the zoo, just to add a bit more weirdness to it. So all great. And then episode 1 is the Husks. Ace finds the spaceship. It's a very basic spaceship, but that's all great. So we've got spaceship weird going on. I hope everybody's keeping up with all of this. When they say go to Java...
Yeah, I never understood what any of that meant.
Does that just mean dead?
I thought it was going in those, like, pods where they seem to go to sleep, because when they wake up that inspector later, and they were like, he was in Java. And I think, like, I wondered whether it was like they explained they were sent away, but actually it just means they're in, like, a sleep. Yeah,
but then they say, like, the original Mr. Pritchard went to Java and never came back, sort of thing. So I don't know. Yeah, that's a bit of a strange wording, and that just annoyed me every time they said Java. I was like, oh, again. Oh, Control. It's this voice, and then this eye hole thing, and then you finally see Control, and it's like this ragged person, and she's like evolves. One, how the way she plays it really annoys me. It's just annoying. And 2, it's really weird. And why does she act like that? Because she's alien, and then she evolves into a lady? Because, again, it's this whole evolution thing. Why? I don't know why she plays it like some weird little child thing.
Well, I thought it was part of evolving, and then she evolves into a grown-up, as it were.
Yeah, I could sort of see what they were doing. I don't think that's particularly effective, though.
I thought it could have been yeah, I agree. I thought it was weird that it looked like a person and how it was portrayed. I agree.
But I don't think it's clear in what we watch, in that Control is like the navigator of the ship, and that what he's locked her, Josiah's locked her away, because you think it's like a prisoner trying to get out, and that is the thing that everyone's scared of, but it's not. I don't know, like, how long's she been down there? Is he just like, I'm living this Victorian life, you all need to stay in the spaceship and just stay down there? I don't know, it's really weird. I feel like we should have also had like an opening shot of like the aliens landing and what they all look like, even if they were bits of tinfoil or whatever. I know it would, and then you see it later on that I don't know. There's just lots of things missing, and this was written as a 4-parter, and they're like, it's got to be 3. We need to edit loads of stuff out. So that's probably why it's not. It's sort of there, but there's just those extra scenes. If there was just a bit more,
I know what you mean,
explanation. That's the problem, I think. And then stuff like the Vicar is there to show about the evolution thing. I mean, that's really horrible when he gets turned into like the ape in the.
Yeah. There are some really like. I mean, I'm jumping around, but that was a good scene. The other one for me is when they take off the things and you see them all just statically sat there.
Yeah, but I don't get why Gwendolyn and what's her name's under there, because they've been living this whole time. This like
I mean, I don't know, but I found it a very creepy, effective moment of like their source bodies. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, there's just stuff like that where it's like they're wandering around and Gwendolyn's got a gun or whatever's going on, and then suddenly they're just frozen under some sheets. What are they put there like during the day, and then he wakes them up at night or something like that? You know, it just needs a few extra. But really effective, and if you're just looking at it, like you always say, just watch it and don't take anything in. It would be great. That's why I think people like it, if you just don't take it all in. Oh, I love when all the bugs come alive in the drawers and stuff.
Yeah, that was cool.
I mean, poor bugs in the studio. Did they just leave them to die? Did they have to catch them afterwards?
Maybe they caught them.
They put all these caterpillars and butterflies and everything in the same drawer.
I'm sure they were fine. I don't think it was for long.
Okay. What do you think of light when light actually arrives?
Earth. Why mention that wretched planet to me?
If you don't like it, then bog off.
I once spent centuries faithfully cataloguing all the species there, every organism from the smallest bacteria to the largest ichthyosaur. And no sooner had I finished than it all started changing.
That's life.
Actually, I thought it was done quite well and effective. Way more effective than Control. I think because they both arrived pretty much at the same time, is more effective. As it went on, Light's effectiveness, wasn't as effective. But that initial, the being entity and stuff, and I thought worked really well.
Because he's not done silly, over-the-top alien. He fits in with he stands out in this Victorian way. They've done it quite subtly. Maybe his acting isn't maybe that subtle, but his look and everything fits in quite well with the rest of the story. It sort of goes off in this weird plot that they're going to get Queen Victoria. I don't know. I feel like you need a whole other episode to be going on about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that was lost in the edit a bit. And then you have the whole thing about Gwen and her mother, and then we find out that it's just a crazy sort of Victorian household of all these really eccentric characters. But then but the Doctor knows. I feel like the Doctor knows everything that's going on.
Yeah, I don't think he does. I think he knows that this place was trouble for Ace. We need to come back here and work out why. But I don't think he knows what and why.
He wouldn't take her there otherwise if he didn't know there was. He just sort of fits in quite well. He's not there's a Nathaniel. I can't say it. Nathaniel. I can't say it.
Oh, Neanderthal.
He's not there's a Neanderthal that's the butler. He just taktakes it in his
that's
stride.
Also very much his style to and very much a Doctor sort of thing of you accept whatever you say. This is it, because he does that as whenever he's presented with things that are different and new, he never questions it. Do you not think?
Yeah, I guess. But then he has that face to face with Josiah, and he knows Josiah's an alien straight away. I feel because
I don't think he did. I think he works it out as he's talking to him, because he also didn't know. He says to us "What's wrong with him? We have to work out why he's so scared." And then when they see the reflection stuff, he's like, something scared him. Not
no, the other guy.
Yeah. So we don't know everything going on.
I don't know. I just feel like it deserves its reputation for being confusing. I feel like there's a balance between the mystery and explaining to the audience, but that balance has gone off kilter, where we're 70% mystery, 30% 30% explanation, or even more actually, 80% mystery,
20%.
20%. It's not. It should be 50-50, but it doesn't. All the mystery doesn't pay off with the explanations. It's sort of out of kilter. That's what I feel.
70-30 is about right.
70-30.
Maybe, yeah 70-30 feels about right.
So there's the bit with Ace getting all freaked out, and there's the police siren comes into it, which I can't decide if that was a really effective moment or a bit GCSE drama again.
It's weird because towards the end, some moments felt like they were thrown in, whereas early on, it's really effective. And also, the Doctor wasn't aware that she burnt it down and stuff. That's what I mean. I don't think he's fully aware of everything.
Which is not a great revelation or anything. You feel like there's something missing there. She sort of says it like it's supposed to be a big dramatic moment at the end. I burn it down, which I suppose it is, but it's not
But I feel it's how it's all played up to, because there's so many things going on at that moment that it kind of gets lost amongst everything.
That's the thing. Lots of moments get lost.
That moment around dinner, as we are sat now, it's kind of, there's a lot of big moments there that, and it just all gets a bit lost within it.
Yeah, because you've got Light going around dissecting people. He's put he's turned what's his name into soup for dinner. You've got the thing about Queen Victoria happening. you've just had Gwendolyn finding out who her mum is, like EastEnders moment there, and then they get turned into stone or whatever. Well, they do that afterwards, but
there's a lot happening. I think that's why it feels a bit cheesy at that moment.
Do you think this could have done with being a 4?
I just think it needs as much detail. It does work as a 3 in some ways. I can't imagine it being a 4. I think 4 would have been too long. I can't imagine where they could have... I think it would have been padded.
Yeah, it would just be like a whole extra episode of confusing people
going
around.
I don't think it would be... I don't think it affects the story. I think there's just too much detail anyway, but I don't think it would have been spread out.
But see, this is the thing. I'm understanding it because we're talking it through, okay, I've looked up a few things. I've just looked up Josiah imprisoned Control and Light and wanted to take... He's like... You'll go.
Yeah. I said like he. Yeah.
But if you put and obviously I've watched it, I had it on video. I didn't really watch that much. Got it on DVD, whatever. But if you're watching this 1 a week, 3 weeks, that is all. It feels like again more modern television designed to be watched again and again on like home release and stuff. Whereas, it's one of those ones where you can get more out of it when you watch it. But if you're just watching it once on TV, like back in the day, and then you never saw it again, you'd really have to keep up.
Yeah, I agree. I think this one doesn't work well for a weekly thing, but it works really well as a binge, or it works really well as like owning it and being able to watch it.
It's like ahead of its time in that way.
It really is. Like there's a lot we've said that sort of felt things that are done now. That sort of stuff.
And this is, again, the tone of it is just, from the last couple of seasons, the silliness has all gone now. It's still a bit gruesome, but it's not like that Sixth Doctor violence.
It has some silly moments, like when they both come out in the tuxedos and stuff. Like, it has moments of light. But it does. Yeah, I agree.
And Sylvester McCoy is pretty, like... He gets some really good speeches and some moments.
He does, yeah. He's really intense.
Like him and Light, him and Josiah. He sort of goes into this like sort of moments, doesn't he? Yeah, I really appreciate this one more now. I've really sort of concentrated on it, I think. It's less confusing. I'm not going to say I 100% appreciate all of the moments, but actually... Now we've talked it through and you sort of, now we've like, gone into a bit more detail on stuff. I feel like if I watched it again, I would really know what's
happening. I don't really feel like I need to watch it again.
Oh, the guy who... Well, you're great. You've done it in one. The guy who played Redford's Fern Cooper, he's been in Doctor Who before.
Right.
He was in Black Orchid.
Oh, that was also in a house, wasn't it?
Yeah, the one with the two Nissas.
Yeah.
He was the
two-parter.
Yeah, he was the guy in the house, Cranley.
Oh yeah, I know. He was the guy in the house.
He's in the house. Well, I had to tell you that because people would tell us that anyway, wouldn't they?
They would, yeah.
Point that out. So we had to say. Anyway, okay, so you enjoyed this then?
Yeah. I don't need to watch it again. I found it really suspenseful and stuff. Probably like a 7 out of 10.
Okay. I'm trying to work out what you gave last week's
I can't remember.
Battlefield with the amazing destroyer that you didn't like. But no, I feel like you wouldn't want Doctor Who like Ghost like every week.
No, that's what makes it special.
But it's a nice change from what we've had, and it's nice to see Ace in a different outfit and stuff. Stuff like that. Because they used to dress up all the time, didn't they? Back in the day.
It felt fun. It felt fun and different, and like you said, it felt modern actually.
Yeah, and it's just such a shame that actually Doctor Who's got to this really great point. It doesn't feel like a kids show, although it's still going out on like I don't know when it's going out actually, maybe midweek. And this is the last one that they ever made, just when they were really... We've gone through sort of the terrible 80s stuff, and we're just coming out the other end of it. And, this is sadly, within that final season, it's sort of going out on a high, production and acting.
We've finished dinner, it's time for morning.
Right, let's head off. Yeah, it's going to be the morning soon, and Mrs. What's-Her-Name's going to... We'll leave with Mrs. What's-Her-Name, or is she cooking us dinner?
She'll be cooking us breakfast, whatever she made for Ace, all that
She
food.
made loads for us. She had like kedgeree and scrambled eggs and everything.
Oh,
but then Ace didn't eat it. She just shoved that tray away and got up. I was like, oh my God.
Get ready for 5 o'clock, 5 p.m, yeah.
Yeah.
I want breakfast, so
No.
let's get ready.
Right. Well, it's 4 parts next week, I believe.
Oh.
I mean, you've had the luxury of 3s.
Yeah, do you know what? Even when I started this, I was a bit like, is this actually 4 or 3? And then I realised, I did check it was 3. I thought it was going to be a 4. I was like, I'm sure Mark said it was a 3.
Yeah, so
We got a 4.
back to 4. Back to 4, but... and it's called The Curse of Fenric.
The Curse of Fenwick.
Fenric.
Fenric.
Yeah.
Fenric's cursing people.
We shall find out for
Yeah.
4 episodes worth. We will know. Yeah. Okay. Oh God, it's getting to the end soon. It's getting to the end of the season soon.
Do you feel emotional, Mark?
Well, no.
I don't know when the end is,
Well, we
so
will. We will when we get to the end. We will.
I don't know when the end
Yeah,
is.
it'll be a milestone, won't it?
It will. It really will.
But in the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 2watchwho. And you can support us at buymeacoffee.com/2watchwho. Oh, you look at me like that wasn't the end. Was there something you were going to say?
No,
oh, okay.
no,
I thought
no,
you were like,
I'm-
I've got more thoughts about Ghost Slides.
I have no more thoughts about Ghostlight. No more thoughts.
Okay. Well, we'll see you all next week then for The Curse of Fenric.
Fenric. Fenric!
Bye.
Bye!
To watch who?